Time for a Talltale short.
From the quiet shadows of their ordinary lives, the people of Middlemuddle led calm, unhurried existences. The only sensation that could rival the morning yawn of the town was Mrs. Thompson's strawberry scones, and even those were predictable in their buttery delight. Amid this landscape of routine lived an oddly round-pegged boy in this square-holed town, Fletcher Bingle. He was a 10-year-old beacon of imagination, often found exploring the leaf-carpeted woods or studying cloud formations, translating them into whimsical tales. One day, as Fletcher was squinting at a cloud shaped suspiciously like a space slug, a blob of glistening goo fell from the sky with a wet plop onto his outstretched palm. It shimmered in colors that didn't even exist in his crayon box, swirling and morphing as if alive. Fletcher's eyes bulged, mirroring the glistening blob's roundness, as a giddy grin conquered his face. "Gooey," he declared, fingers quivering around the otherworldly slime. Their friendship sparked instantly, as if someone had tripped over a universe's worth of kindred spirit tucked away in a corner. One drowsy afternoon, Gooey rippled and shimmered into the form of a jaunty hat. With a chortle, Fletcher perched it on his head and pranced around his room, a mirror giggling back his joy. Another day they found themselves at Mrs. Thompson's backyard, home to a scowling scarecrow. As if sensing its loneliness, Gooey transformed into a cheery hummingbird, circling the straw-stuffed guardian. It was a sight that left Fletcher teary-eyed, his heart swelling with warmth for his shape-shifting friend. But the most astonishing of Gooey's stunts happened during Fletcher's dreadfully dull math class. With a last-ditch effort to salvage the afternoon, Gooey squished into a second Fletcher, down to the mismatched socks and the freckle on the left cheek. When the two Fletchers stood side by side, their astonished teacher's chalk slipped from her hand, leaving a ghostly streak on the blackboard. With every adventure, every shared giggle and hushed secret, their bond strengthened, wrapping them in a cocoon of friendship as surreal and beautiful as a comet's tail. However, with Gooey's arrival, Middlemuddle's usual tranquility was stirred. Dark, tailored suits began to loom on the corners of quiet streets, their wearers sporting earpieces and inconspicuously sipping coffees in Thompson's bakery. Fletcher's heart squeezed as he recognized them for what they were, agents from the surreptitious observers of unknown happenings, or SOW, known for their dark humor and a somewhat overzealous tendency to poke into mysterious events. They were undoubtedly in town for Gooey. Swift as a shadow cat, Fletcher grabbed Gooey, now a scaredy cat with eyes wide and trembly, and darted off towards the sanctuary of the woods. Their game of hide-and-seek with the SOUH had officially begun. Unbeknownst to them, they were about to embark on an adventure that would test the strength of their friendship and change their lives forever. Under the leafy canopy of the woods, Fletcher clutched Gooey tighter, his heart pounding like a frantic drummer. Gooey, his colors churning, clung to Fletcher's shoulder, his once playful jiggles now echoed with fear. In the thick of the woodland labyrinth, the relentless pursuit by the SOUH agents turned their lives into a living game of cat and mouse. Fletcher's breath hitched every time a branch snapped under an agent's foot, each crunch of the autumn leaves echoing the ticking clock they raced against. He and Gooey, heart and pulse in sync, maneuvered around them, constantly on the move. As they lay low in a bramble thicket, an agent's footsteps approached, the gravel crunching under his polished shoe like a grating symphony. Gooey, now a pebble resting innocently on the forest floor, shivered at the agent's proximity, his colors swirling with fright. Fletcher, his heart pounding an urgent beat, gave Gooey an encouraging nod. When the agent bent down, his gloved hand reaching for Gooey, the pebble sprung into a hissing raccoon. The agent reeled back, a shocked yelp piercing the stillness. Fletcher clamped his hand over his mouth, his eyes crinkling in mirth as he watched the retreating back of the startled agent. Through their shared ordeals, a silent conversation bloomed between them. Gooey's pulse, once a mere quirk, grew into a language of emotions, a rhythmic Morse code. When he pulsed fast, he was scared. When slow, he was content. Fletcher learned to read these beats, each rhythm like a shared secret. As they leaned against a large oak tree, a eureka moment pierced through Fletcher's weary mind. Contact. Planet Zog. Gooey, by the unique pulse of his existence, could be the ultimate interstellar communicator. Fletcher watched Gooey shimmer with agreement, his colors singing a symphony of understanding. Dad used to say water carries sound better than air, Fletcher muttered, his eyes sparkling with an idea. Maybe it can carry your pulse further? Understanding flashed across Gooey's fluctuating surface. And so they set their course towards the heart of Middlemuddle, to the quiet lake where the town's elders like to ponder life. And children, their fingers pruned, splashed their summer afternoons away. The moon was high in the sky when they reached the lake. The rippling water looked like a million diamonds thrown across an ebony canvas, every wave carrying whispers of the night. Gooey pulsed faster, his anticipation making him flicker like a strobe light. Fletcher, holding Gooey in his cupped hands, lowered him towards the water. As the first tendrils of Gooey touched the surface, a ripple spread outwards, gentle yet powerful. Gooey stretched and expanded, sending rhythmic vibrations across the entire body of water. His pulse danced along the surface, his spectral luminescence painting the lake in a mesmerizing light show. Seconds turned into minutes, then hours, until the first light of dawn started to kiss the horizon. Suddenly, a rhythm echoed back, a message dancing across the surface of the water, a pulse not from this earth. Planet Zog had answered. Gooey's glow softened, his vibrations harmonizing with the message. Fletcher, his heart heavy, watched his friend oscillate with the rhythms of his people. A new color was now evident in Gooey, one of longing, tinged with sorrow. Fletcher's voice broke the silence. "It's okay, Gooey. You can go home. I understand." The first rays of the new day bathed the lake in a golden glow. Suddenly the stillness shattered as the ominous silhouettes of the Soch agents emerged from the tree line. "Stay back!" Fletcher cried out, stepping protectively in front of Gooey. But just as the agents moved to apprehend them, a hum resonated through the air, a sound both alien and beautiful. Eyes turned skyward as a luminescent spaceship materialized, its glow eclipsing the sun. The agents, frozen in their tracks, could only watch as the spaceship hovered over the lake. Gooey, pulsating with a complex mix of emotions, detached from Fletcher's side and floated up towards the spaceship. With one last shimmer of farewell, Gooey vanished into the ship. And then, with a sound akin to a cosmic sigh, the spaceship zipped off into the cosmos. The agents disappeared into their black SUVs as quickly as they had arrived. Fletcher walked back home, his steps weighed down by the void left by Gooey. Back home, his parents engulfed him in relieved hugs, peppering him with worried questions. Managing to assure them he was fine, he slipped to his room, exhaustion pulling at his limbs. Alone, his room felt empty. He was about to collapse onto his bed when a soft, rhythmic pulsing filled the air. His heart skipped a beat. He followed the sound, which led him under his bed. Tucked away in the corner, a familiar glistening blob pulsed gently. Somehow a small part of Gooey had stayed behind. Fletcher picked it up gently, the tiny blob pulsing warmly in his hand. He smiled, his heart echoing the rhythm. The magical tie between him and Gooey hadn't ended. It had merely transformed. For in his hand, he held a piece of his best friend, a piece of a faraway planet, and a piece of a story that had only just begun.
This was a Talltale short, small but mighty stories, released daily in audio format. Create, read, and share more tales at talltale.com.